There you go. Yeah, no, what time?
Kansas City in the red.
Oh, okay. Go play again.
They lost play twice. His rhythm was messed up.
From this angle.
You want to keep it. Okay.
Thanks.
Good afternoon, Handyman, and thank you, listeners, for joining us today. I am Eddie Jean Carr, your Hinds County Chancery Clerk. And as we do each and every Tuesday, we'd like to begin our show by thanking our sponsors. And of course, my sponsor is DJ Finesse. For all of your entertainment and recording needs, including DJ services for proms, wedding receptions, our studio needs, just give Chris Carr, that's DJ Finesse, a call. DJ Finesse can be reached by dialing 601-937-4660. Again, my sponsor is DJ Finesse. For all of your entertainment and recording needs, including DJ services or proms, wedding receptions, or studio needs, just give DJ Finesse a call at 601-937-4660. Other friends of the Eddie Jean Carr Show are Classic Printing, your one-stop union print shop. That's Classic Printing. Classic Printing is located at 418 North Paris Street in downtown Jackson in the historic Paris Street district. All of your printing needs, including souvenir booklets, stationery, wedding invitations, campaign materials, anything that you need printing, Classic Printing can do it. Classic Printing is locally owned and operated by my friend Willow Womack. So please give Willa a call at 601-969-4120. I'd also like to thank the Walker Group. That's Attorney John Walker. He's located at 1410 Livingston Lane Road, Suite A, also here in Jackson. When you do business with the Walker Group, you get respect, response, and results. So call Attorney John Walker. Attorney Walker can be reached by dialing 601-948-4589. And I'd also like to thank Danny's Occasional Gifts. To give a gift from your heart, Danny's is the place to start. It's free delivery within the city of Jackson with a $10 purchase. Delivery time is from 8:30 a.m. until 2:30 p.m. So don't you miss out on this wonderful place to shop. Just call my longtime friend, Danny Thompson. Danny can be reached by dialing 601-366-0514.
Angela Snow Realtor with a legendary realty company. For current real estate information in the Metro Jackson area, call Angela. She can be reached at 601-573-2946. Porter's Insurance Agency, located at 1020 University Drive. For all of your insurance needs, including insurance coverage for your home or business and bundling of all types, call Yelia Porter, Carolyn, or Linda, and they can be reached at 601-355-8471. Sowell Dental Office, located at 6745 South Sowell Road, Suite 210, next to the Curves in the Kroger Shopping Center. They can be reached at 601-371-8634. General dentistry, treatment of gum disease, dentures, root canals, fillings, crowns, cosmetic or surgery, minor tooth movement. Financing is available. Office hours by appointment, Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Emergency walk-ins are welcome. And remember, a healthy mouth makes a healthy body.
And finally, we do want you to remember to go by Taylor's Candy Company, located at 1519 Carr Street here in the city of Jackson. Taylor's Candy Company is a wholesale distributor. They've been in the West Jackson community for over 40 years. And we know that you're not doing a lot of parades and church events, but we know the time is going to get better, and we want to make sure we keep this minority business in Jackson here in the West Jackson community. So go by and talk to Mr. Taylor or give him a call at 601-352-3462. Again, that's Taylor's Candy Company. They are a wholesale distributor, and they are located at 1519 Cox Street here in Jackson. And give them a call. Mr. Taylor will be looking forward to hearing from you at 601-352-3462. This is a minority company that's been in business for 40 years in the West Jackson community. So let's continue to support them and keep them in business.
We'd like to welcome our first guest, and we can't put that much emphasis on this race because we always talk about this election as a historic election, but it's truly an historic election from top to bottom. And the importance of this race for Supreme Court is truly a special race here in Mississippi that we all need to have our attention and ensure that we elect our next candidate that's here, was Court of Appeals Judge Latrice Westbrook. She's a candidate for Supreme Court here in Mississippi. This is the first time in the history of the state that we have an opportunity to elect an African-American female to the state Supreme Court, the highest court in the state.
Highest court in the state of Mississippi. So welcome, Judge. And
well, thank you for having me. It's good to see you too. What, 2 days later?
2 days later,
Yes.
we had an opportunity to share the studio over at
We sure did.
Sitting in for Malcolm Johnson and Credell Calhoun the other day. And
We did.
it was a pleasure being your co-host.
It was a pleasure being your co-host too.
So let's go ahead and talk to our listeners about today, because we in the radio station, WMPR.
That's right. That's right. Well, good afternoon to everyone. I'm Latrice Westbrooks, and as Keelan mentioned, I'm currently your sitting Court of Appeals judge, and I am vying to be your next Supreme Court justice. The race is November 3rd, and the historical perspective aside, this is just an important race, period, because as you know, both of you know, the Supreme Court being the court of last resort impacts everyone's life. And it governs, just like the legislature governs what we do every day, so does your court system, so does the Supreme Court. And so it's important to know what justices you have who are there, who share your experiences, who, live in your neighborhoods, and who understands our community. And so we need people like that on the court who are making decisions every day about important issues in our lives.
Before we get to that, let's go back and let folks here over at WMPR, listeners know who you are and where you came from, and then why you want to serve on the Supreme Court.
Okay, well, some people may remember me from years ago. I had a radio show called Ask Latrice the Lawyer that was right here at WMPR on Monday nights at 7:00 p.m. And so for a couple of years, I would, be on the air and trying to explain the criminal justice system, to people, because you would be surprised that everyone does not understand the criminal justice system. Even some, really appellate judges don't understand it. Not every judge that sits on the court has experience in criminal law, either from a prosecutorial standpoint or defense standpoint. So it's important to have that type of diversity. And when you break that down, a lot of attorneys don't do public defender work. So when you're breaking it down even further. So it's important to, have someone who's there. So I did criminal defense work for a number of years throughout the Delta. I was a public defender in Holmes County. I did a lot of criminal defense work here in Hinds County and in other areas, and even handle matters in Lauderdale County and Kemper County. So I have vast experience in criminal defense work. And it matters when you have that practical experience. Sometimes people explain, well, people have been on the bench too long, but they don't know what it's like to practice law. And I still remember what it's like to practice law. And so it's important to, have someone who can still remember what it's like to have your boots on the ground and really doing the work and putting in the time and the efforts. Early on, I did school to prison, the pipeline litigation. And that's how I came to work with the ACLU and the Southern Poverty Law Center. And actually at that time, did some work with Jennifer Riley Collins. That's how we met. So doing that type of work for school children. And I was just in Lauderdale County. And, and I talked to parents about, when you're on the court, I'm the daughter of a single mother. I had the benefit of having cousins because my mother, has 10 brothers and sisters. So a babysitter was never an issue. But I also, having the benefit of having both worlds, having cousins who are like brothers, I also know what it's like to be an only child, her only child. And when she's trying to make a better life for us, we had, we moved a few times, even though my grandparents were there, every adult needs their own house. Mm-hmm. And so she wanted to, provide a life for the two of us. And she did that. So I understand that, I carry that experience with me into the courtroom on the bench when I'm looking at cases, reviewing, domestic matters. So, there's a lot to me that maybe people don't know. Maybe they just have to be reminded because, again, this is the second time that I've come here. But I want to let everybody know that when I'm at the table, you're at the table. Like we're just, I'm just not there, alone. You are there with me. And when I consider these cases and these opinions that I write, I consider the everyday person. I follow the law. Mm-hmm. And in following the law, you don't always come to the conclusion that you want to. And maybe the facts and circumstances don't warrant that. But I follow the law and I am fair in all of my opinions. But I'm dedicated to the community in when I do that.
And you've also been judges on various levels, starting with municipal.
Yes, and that's important too, because when you're a municipal judge, you come into contact with the public more so than anybody else. Municipal judges and justice court judges, I mean, they do yeoman's work. They do the bulk of it because they handle the most cases. Mm-hmm. On the appellate level, we don't handle trials, we don't have witnesses, we don't do jury instructions. All of that's handled on the trial level. And, when you get to your circuit and your chancery courts, that's where all of that happens. But when you go down to the county courts and to the justice courts and municipal courts, that's where your traffic fines are handled. And people don't need lawyers. Mm-hmm. So you're getting, face-to-face, hands-on interaction with the public when you are a municipal judge and justice court judge.
Mm-hmm. And so now you're on the Court of Appeals.
Yes.
Exactly what does a Court of Appeals do?
Well, just like I mentioned a few minutes ago, the Court of Appeals, the appellate courts are different from the trial courts. So when you produce a record for us to review,
that's from the lower courts.
That's from the lower courts or from the trial courts. Mm-hmm. Somebody is there when you're in trial. somebody is there taking down everything you say. You see this woman or this man in front of the judge, and I'm doing my fingers. You can't see it in radio land, but maybe you can see it in Facebook land. Somebody's taking down everything that you said. Well, what they're doing is creating the record. And the only time something doesn't get in the record is when you don't do it, period. Or when you tell the judge, this is off the record. But everything else is on the record. And so that record, which includes the typed transcript, it also includes any exhibits that you admitted as evidence. It also includes even that evidence that did not get admitted into evidence, but it got marked for ID. So we can at least consider it, and it got designated. As long as it got designated in the record, we can consider it. So we take that record and we review it to see if the procedures were properly followed in the trial courts. If the judge made the right rulings based on the law, if the jury was able to consider the right evidence, if the attorneys, did everything that they were supposed to do, and if everything worked out the way it was supposed to, then more likely than not, the case will be affirmed. Okay, so we'll write an opinion affirming what took place on the trial level. If something went awry or something did not go the way it was supposed to, or something was done out of order, then that case will be reversed. So you hear a lot of people say, well, it got reversed on a technicality. You hear that phrase commonly used. And so we'll write an opinion reversing a case or sending it back to the trial court, sending it back to Chancery Court, which is never fun. We know that's not fun for y'all. Yeah. Or we will do what's called a reverse and render. And when something is rendered, that means it's done. Mm-hmm. It won't go back to the trial court. We've made the final decision. It is done, over with, kaput.
So you can't, even if you don't like the verdict of the appellate court, you cannot now go to the Supreme Court.
Well, you could. Now, if you don't like the verdict of the Court of Appeals, there is a process what we call writ of certiorari, and you can tell.
Oh, that's a new word.
It's called, you may hear it called writ of cert, or petition the court for cert. And certiorari is that Latin word that I really don't like to say because I certiorari, nobody can really say it, but it's called writ of cert. And so you can petition the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court, a lot of people don't understand, is really a court of discretion here in Mississippi. So there are certain cases that go straight to the Supreme Court that don't come to the Court of Appeals. And we can discuss those in just a second. But if the Supreme Court looks at a case that came from the Court of Appeals and decides that the Court of Appeals got the law and facts correct, and there's no need to second guess the opinion of the Court of Appeals, then they will deny cert, which means it ends right there. Okay. But if they do decide to take up cert, which means they do see some type of flaw in the opinion or how we came to a conclusion, then they will take it up. And then whatever decision that they come down with will be the final say so. Now, the Supreme Court technically assigns cases to the Court of Appeals. And so they can take up a case at any time that they think is an issue of first impression or great public importance. So they can take it up at any time. Now, the other cases that they take up that we don't see are death penalty cases where someone has actually been sentenced to death. Now, we do have capital murder cases where somebody may have received life. But if they receive death, if the jury sentenced them to death, then those cases go straight to the Supreme Court. Okay. Annexation cases, election contest cases, bond issues, issues that are dealing with, public utilities or the Public Service Commission, issues that deal with contesting the constitutionality of a state statute. Those issues, go directly to the Supreme Court. And so you hear about election contest issues, not getting into the name of it, but we all know about one that just took place last week. They had an oral argument on. So that went straight to the Supreme Court. The Court of Appeals didn't see that. Annexation cases, Jackson wanted to annex some more property. That issue, if it was any litigation that came out of that will go straight to the Supreme Court. And so there are certain issues that the Court of Appeals, and I haven't listed them all, but there are some issues that the Court of Appeals does not see, they go straight to the Supreme Court. And of course, the Supreme Court still deals with, insurance issues. So if you get hit with a bad faith claim, or you have to file a bad faith claim, chances are that case is going to make it to the Supreme Court. There's a great likelihood that it will. So your car accident cases, your basic everyday cases, your divorce cases, those cases still, the cases that you deal with every day, the filings that you see every day still can make their way to the Supreme Court. And that's why it's important that everyone still needs to get out there and vote.
Okay. So what is the makeup of the Supreme Court? How many justices and where do they come from?
Okay, so the Supreme Court has 9 justices. There are 3 districts in the Supreme Court. So there are 3 justices for every district. And so I'm running in what's called the Central District. It's also District 1, but it's also the Central District. And so you have 3 justices in the Central District. Justice Leslie King is also on the ballot, but he's running unopposed. I'm in post 1. I'm running for post 1. He's in post 2.
Central District.
Central District. And of course, everybody knows Jim Kitchens. Please come get him out of my kitchen. Okay. So, and Justice Kitchens just ran 4 years ago, and he's in post 3. So Justice Leslie King will also be on the ballot, but we are not.
A black man.
He was a black man. And Dawn Beam is a white woman who's on the court. Everybody else is white man that's on the court. So that's the I'm assuming that's what you were asking. That's the makeup of the court. Yes.
A lot of us know that Leslie King is on the Supreme Court. So we want our listeners to realize, to understand, you're not running against him.
No.
That on November 3rd, they can vote for both you and Justice King.
You have the opportunity to vote for the both of us at the same time. You don't have to choose one over the other. That's right.
And you talked about that this is the Central District. So what counties are involved in this election?
Okay, so thank you for making that easy for me. So going down 61, it's like an L shape. So if you go down 61 or T shape, if you go down 61, you got Bolivar all the way down to Jefferson, and then you take Warren and go on I-20 and go all the way to Lauderdale County. And you got Hines and Leake and Madison and Rankin, all in there too. But you have Bolivar, Claiborne, Copiah, Hines, Holmes, Humphreys, Issaquena, Jefferson, Kemper, Lauderdale, Leake, Madison, Neshoba, Newton, Noxubee, Rankin, Scott, Sharkey, Sunflower, Warren, Washington, and Yazoo.
So we also want to remind folks, this is the same district that Commissioner Simmons was.
Yes, Commissioner.
So it is a winnable district.
It is a very winnable district. I swore Commissioner Simmons in January. Congressman Thompson has endorsed me. I've been endorsed. I have a few more endorsements coming through that I'll be happy to share with you, hopefully next week or the week after that. But the closer we get to Labor Day, I'll be able to share those with you. But I'm getting a lot of encouragement out here from the public, and I appreciate that for everyone who's been supportive. But what I need everyone to do is pick up the phone, because we are campaigning during strange and unusual times. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of what I'm used to doing, like going to the churches and getting to, parade rallies and, getting out there, we're just not doing right now. And we don't need to do it, because everybody needs to stay safe, okay, as much as possible. So what I need people to do is pick up the phone, call your relatives. We're on social media. Help us push social media, and let everyone know that this is a race that we all are invested in.
And we're asking folks to vote absentee and vote early.
Yes, please.
And I think absentee voting is going to start September 21st, I believe.
Yes, that's my understanding. Yes, so you can vote absentee. The pandemic is going to be listed as one of the excuses. I usually vote absentee because if you're going to be out of the county, if you're going to be away from your county on election day, then you can still vote absentee. But if you are going to if you're somehow impacted by the pandemic, then you should be able to vote absentee as well. So Mississippi doesn't have no excuse mail-in voting. We don't have that. We do have the absentee voting. And so please, everyone, if you already know that you won't be able to make it on election day, or you are again impacted by by COVID-19, please do not hesitate to vote absentee. That's the first thing. The second thing is, if you're not registered to vote, don't wait till the last minute. Don't wait till October to register to vote. Go ahead and register to vote now. If you don't know whether or not you can register to vote, it doesn't hurt to ask. The worst thing somebody can say is no. Okay.
And I've got voter registration
Forms on
in my
you.
truck. I
Okay.
always keep them, so if anybody needs one,
Find Etta Jean Carr.
they're in my truck. I have to keep them every day.
Okay. Exactly.
And then if you don't think you're going to be able to go to the courthouse to vote, you need to go ahead now and call
Right.
the circuit clerk's office and get your application mailed to you so that you can get your application and your ballot in plenty of time because of the issue with the post office. So you can get it back in.
And like our first lady said last night, do it early. Don't wait.
Don't wait.
Don't wait. And also, again, if you haven't filled out your census form,
Get it done.
please get it done. Please get it done. So
It's essential.
very much so.
Okay. Any parting words? Anything else you'd like to tell our listeners?
Well, first of all, I like to thank the both of you for your encouragement, your support, your endorsement. I really appreciate that. And I want everyone again to come out and vote November 3rd. This is an election we cannot afford to sit down or turn our backs on.
And we're going to start at the top.
And we're going to start at the top and work our way all the way down the bottom of that ballot.
So we're going with the Biden-Harris, Congressman Thompson, Senator, I'm calling him Senator Mike Espy. And then you'll be the next person.
I will be the next person on the ballot. That's right. Supreme Court Justice, District 1, Post 1, Latrice Westbrooks.
And then you go on down and you vote for your election commissioners because they will also be on the ballot. And then by then we will also have on the ballot a new proposed state flag.
Absolutely.
So it's going to be an interesting ballot, but vote all the way down. We're saying vote from
Please.
top to bottom and
Please.
push everybody's name. And we know you can't say you're a Democrat, but as Congressman Thompson would say,
You know.
Thank you so much for
Thank you
coming.
so
And
much for
somebody
having
wants
me.
to call you or contact you. How
But,
do you-
okay, so you can look on the back of the card. It is 1-844 VOTE-LAW. We try to make it easy. Vote Law, VOTELAW, Vote Law.
Now, we also have to point out, we know that as a judicial candidate, you cannot solicit or ask for any donations for your campaign, but we can.
We can.
And with that being said, if we asking those who would donate to your campaign, but where would they send a donation to if they want to contribute?
Well, I have a website, so everybody likes to go online. So don't put the www dot in front of Westbrooks 2020. Just type in westbrooks20.com, HTTPS, Westbrooks2020.com. That's Westbrooks20.com. And you go to the website. We also have the P.O. Box. The P.O. Box is P.O. Box 1066 Jackson 39215. That's P.O. Box 1066 Jackson 39215. Vote Law 844 Vote Law.
Okay, thank you. Got it all.
Thank you
made.
both,
All right,
yes.
all right. And because we know that you couldn't ask, but we can ask for you.
Well, thank y'all for doing everything that you can. I appreciate that. Y'all have a good evening.
You too, and safe travels to you.
Thank you.
And stay safe. Okay. And bringing our next guest, who set us up for Facebook Live today. So we're excited about that. We have our city councilman to keep us next, but he's not here necessarily to talk about what's going on with the city today. He's here to talk about some other big event that's going on.
Wow.
Welcome, sir.
Wow,
Welcome.
it feels good to be back here.
Yeah. Good to have you.
Ain't nothing like good.
So what big announcement you got?
Well, first off, thank you for always being a good mentor. If you haven't learned anything, if those on the listening audience, you learn how to have dignity, class, and grace
Thank you, sir.
from the work product and just the body of work. I've seen you travel through politics and just how to navigate this life is different. And I just want to say thank you for being a mentor from afar,
Thank you.
just by watching your work. And Keelan, your grandmother, and the work y'all done over the years, we appreciate all that diligence and commitment to Hinds County and Mississippi.
Thank you, sir.
I stand before you today, or sit before you today, as a candidate for House District 66, special election for the House of Representatives, to be one of the 122 members of our state house, to fill the vacated seat of Representative Jarvis Dortch, who stepped down to be the head of the ACLU. And I just ask for your prayers, your support, and your vote as we try to change Mississippi. And we're on that journey. And I just thank you for allowing me time to come today.
Okay, but tell us, what is your vision for the position?
Well, I started off in policy in the 6th grade. I was a member of a little group called Youth Legislature. I don't know if y'all remember that group. Youth Legislature goes to the Capitol every year, and we wrote laws every year. And so I did it all through high school, went to the military, and when I got in the military, I got hired by the CAO of the U.S. House, and we were working on federal policy. And Congressman Thompson brought me back down to Mississippi to work on veteran affairs here in Mississippi. And that's when I got elected to be a city legislator or a city council person. So we're taking that body of work over the course of our lifetime to the next level and to the State House of Representatives. And that's how I got motivated about policy, because policy is where writing the laws is where it is. The executors may get all of the spotlight, but somebody has to solve the problem. Somebody has to sit down and say, okay, here's education, prison reform, here's infrastructure. Somebody has to sit down and grab hold of the problem and put the X's and O's together so that the executors can go execute. And so that's why we feel that Mississippi is lagging behind, because we've been a little divided over the last several years versus focused specifically on our problems. We've been a little polarizing when it comes to the Republican or the Democrat or the white versus black. And really, our problems are stacking up in every indicator, from education to economy to infrastructure to just even right now the coronavirus. We're last in the country as far as response to coronavirus with the best people. I honestly feel like Mississippi has the best people in the whole country. But I'm trying to add a degree of leadership that can bring people together and solve problems and deliver something for Mississippians.
And speaking of leadership, you've been in leadership roles not only on the local level, but on the national level. So we know you know how to lead. So tell us about your being president of the national organization.
A few years ago, we had the honor and privilege of being selected to be the president of the National Black Caucus. National Black Caucus of local elected officials, first off, wonderful organization. Filled with mayors and council people from around the country. We have about 465 members in the Black Caucus, and they selected to keep the stamps from Little Old Learned Mississippi to be the president. And I appreciate that experience, being able to network with people from around the country to help advance our issues. We've been back and forth to both White Houses, the Obama White House and the Trump White House, dealing with issues. And so we feel as though we want to take that experience and duplicate that inside of the Mississippi State House of working together, because once the elections are over with, the problems are in our lap. And we have to do the substantive hard work of getting economy, education, healthcare, infrastructure. We got to get it right versus building up and going through the little bickering that we've been kind of bogged down with over the last several years. We got to start solving problems so we can deliver things back to Mississippi.
And just to prove how you have been able to collaborate with others, you brought the national meeting to Jackson, Mississippi.
Well, when you're part of a national organization, you want to get folks to participate in your hometown. Just like Congressman Thompson had Reverend Young and several others. It was just a joy to see Mississippians in that light.
Yes.
Anytime you get an opportunity to bring over 400 Black mayors and council people from around the country to Mississippi, many of them had preconceived notions about Mississippi.
Never want to go to Mississippi.
Never want to go to Mississippi. But when they got here, they didn't want to leave. They got here realizing that we got good people here. We got good history, good culture, and good experiences. And that's what we have to do, is display the best of us and not just do what the normal media does, displaying the worst of us.
The very worst.
We got to display the very best of us, because like I said in the beginning of the segment, we got some great people here, Black and white. We just got to work together, because our problems are so heavy that they're forcing us to say, you know what? We've been busy building the partisan side up. Let's build the state up. And it's time to just restore Mississippi. Let's remember that we're one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let's get back to our principles.
Yes.
Let's get back to our principles and get some things done for the hardworking folks in Mississippi.
Now, with that, we're talking about the policy, and we're looking at the work that you've done on the city council level. Now, with that experience and everything, let's talk a little more about that, going to taking your talents to the state level.
How does all this experience transcends into the state level?
Well, I'm a firm believer that if you can go through the crucible of Jackson City Council for 7 years, you're prepared for almost any office. Because every day we don't get, at the local level, we don't get a recess.
You don't get a day off.
We don't get a day off.
Even though it's a part-time job.
Even though it's a part-time job, you don't get a day off or a recess and come back. No, it's constant. But I believe that there are issues that Jackson has, and Jackson is a microcosm of the state. Everyone else has the same issues. Jackson's just bigger with more spotlight on it. But as you start solving these bigger problems, you can deliver stuff that folks agree on. We agree that we should have good roads. But we got a state that has did a degree of help with infrastructure, but it's time to do some substantive, long-lasting help, like building the infrastructure across the whole state. It's time to do what we did in the late 80s with the infrastructure bill in the late 80s that put the highway system in place. It's time to redo that for the next 2 generations to be able to navigate this state on. And those are the big, heavy ticket lifts that we got to do. We got to do that hard work. Education reform. Right now on COVID, we got children who are going to be sit back. We all know that a lot of our children need in-person education. And virtual is where we're going now, but we know that those children are going to need help. And so who are already behind, coronavirus is sitting us even further behind. So we got to put our heads together and drop some of our lower level differences and deliver things for the citizens of Mississippi. That's what I'm trying to strengthen the Hinds County delegation, because I want Hinds County delegation to be the strongest delegation in the state. That's where the Hinds County delegation should be. And I'm trying to offer myself up with my degree of help to help it be better so we can produce more for Jackson and Hinds County.
And being on the city council, I know you hear a lot about expanding Medicaid.
Mm-hmm.
So what is your philosophy on the expansion of Medicaid?
Oh, I believe we should expand Medicaid. We should offer, just the city of Jackson, right now, we got some on the table right now where we're pushing to get free health care for the city of Jackson employees.
Oh, why?
Right, it's on the table right now, and we just might be able to pull it off. If we don't get all the way through, we'll get danger close. But those are the kind of healthy employees and healthy people live longer and they pay taxes longer. We need people living longer. And to my Republican colleagues, I say, if you're pro-life, be pro the whole life.
Okay.
Not just the first part when you're pregnant. No, be pro-life the whole life. That life needs to have quality opportunities, quality health care, quality education, and quality opportunities. Our children are leaving this state by the droves, and they should be staying here, but the opportunities are not here. And that's why we got to grow our economy, grow Hinds County so that we can retain our young people here in Mississippi.
And one of the things that the county is doing in terms of voting, so let's talk about that,
Mm-hmm.
because your election is September the 22nd.
That's right.
And it is a special election. And I think there are about 6 candidates,
Mm-hmm.
and we're not going to call all the candidates' names, but you're here.
But we got good people.
And a lot of them are about, can you tell us the precincts in the district?
Yeah, we got a lot of great people vying for office for this seat, and I'm honored to be in that mix.
Mm-hmm.
And the precincts basically go through South Jackson. You have the South Jackson precincts, 1 precinct in Byron, 1 precinct in Terry, 1 precinct in Utica, and back up through Dry Grove and Spring Ridge Road, and back up Highway 18 to South Jackson. So it's basically that small little triangle down there. And for one of the times, it really blessed me from right down there where I'm from, in Morningstar Missionary Baptist Church, right there on that corner of Old Fort Gibson Road and Adams Station. That's where.
So that was your church?
I'm a trustee today.
Are you serious?
I just left.
I worked at Jackson Hinds Campus of Custody on Highway 27, so I'm very familiar with all the areas now. I worked there for 10 years.
Yep, we cutting the grass right now. I just left from come back on the radio show.
That's awesome.
But right from my church, there are farms right there in Learning. And so that's where I grew up. This little triangle between Jackson to Learning and over to Crystal Springs, where my mother's from. That's been my whole.
And I love your mama.
She's a blessing.
She's my coalition sister.
That's right. She's a blessing. So this is more personal. Some people ask me, why are you not running for mayor? Why are you not doing this? Why are you not doing that? it's just personal.
Mhm.
And I mean, when I say personal, it's deeply personal. It's, it's a lot of work, but it's personal. It's not about, like I said, if I had an ego, I'd be running for mayor. But this work of policy, especially in developing this section of Hinds County from South Jackson down to Utica and over to Terry, it's just deeply personal for me. And like I said, we got good folks on the ballot. I just feel like that I bring a unique skill set to do a better job. And we need to step forward immediately and be able to start moving the delegation forward and moving the state forward, because Mississippi is really not moving to the degree it should be, because Hinds County isn't developing like it should develop. And we really got to do it right. And we got to do it in such a way that is advantageous for Jackson's growth, Byram, Raymond. It has to be a good mix for everyone to grow in the future.
And we know how the election is September the 22nd. So, excuse me, have they started absentee? Have they started absentee voting yet?
No, ma'am. You got call.
Call you on air, go ahead, please.
Yes, hello, and I love you all and saying about we. Is it about me, about we at the Constitution, just like the LA like us, and who are running for office? And if you're running for office, like the chief is out Indian, no way. If we want to do for our people, and the Constitution says we are the people, and if we want to run for this office, and you proclaim you care and you want to take and help and to take this position, but I always say somebody got to be ahead, and everybody got an important position. But if you don't win and be the head and say I and no more I, but it's me, and the Constitution said we, and turn it upside down and say me. But all the one running for election, and the people, and we are the people, and we need everybody in this election. If you say you can do this, why you gonna back out? Then you want a job or you want to help these people?
Yes,
Now,
ma'am.
if you proclaiming that you want to help the people and what you can do for, do it. The LA Lakers got a basketball team, and the Chicago Bulls got a team.
Yes,
Now, if you say weak and you want to back up, but for election time, it ain't about what you paid for, it's you made for to do this job. Now, you want to be paid for this job and saying what you can do, and as a team with 100 males or whatever, but be a team, and our chief is not great, but the people need us. And if you can do it when you back out, but how can one man? How can one man be a mayor of Jackson in the Hinds County? How can he go to Raymond and all the other counties that have Hinds County? But if you are people in a land that want to help, do what it do. Because the Constitution said we are the people. And the United States said they are the United States. But as I studied in my history, it's North America, South America, not the United States. But if you united in how you being a part of those Democrats and Republicans and this and that, united means one. But the real continent of the continent is North America. But our forefathers said we are the people in order to form a more perfect union.
Yes,
Ain't
ma'am.
no union saying Democrat and Republican.
Yes, ma'am, you're absolutely correct. Thank you for calling, we appreciate it. Keep listening.
She's doing it right. We the people.
We the people.
We the people. And I encourage everyone to pick up a copy of your Constitution, read it, and be able to articulate it. Civics is very important.
Keith, we have to talk about your background. And the reason I say that, as you put it, you do have a unique quality to be able to work across the aisle, to be able to work with various backgrounds. And the people really need to understand, especially going into the legislature, because you're all going to have to be able to pull coalitions from remote areas that are not close to Jackson in order to be able to accomplish things. So with that, and I know one component that I'm really fishing for is talking about the presidential council that you picked.
President team.
Yes, talk a little bit about that because that shows that not only you will pull from out of all these people across the United States,
right.
You will single out to be able to go and bring a voice from Mississippi,
Mm-hmm.
from Jackson, Mississippi, to the White House and to make sure that our voices are heard.
Mm-hmm.
So talk a little bit about this, sir.
Well, at first, it was an overwhelming experience. I was deeply honored when I got the phone call. President Obama selected 18 city council presidents to be a part of the transition team in the Obama-Trump transition. And we have been working on that transition process for about a year. And I've been working with folks for the next transition process as well. And when the election came about, everybody was shocked in 2016. But there's a thing called duty for your country. And when they call, those who believe in duty, go. And right after the last election, when, people were still in the fog that President Trump had won,
Couldn't
believe it. But duty called. Mm-hmm. And myself and several others from around the country went to the White House and sat in the basement of the Republican headquarters right there in DC, starting to work out issues because it's a heavy lift and countries are always fragile during moments of transition. And so it was a good experience. I met people like Elroy Saylor and several others. And we worked through the transition process. And it's a lot of work to do. And I was honored to be a small piece, just a small piece. But we have been back and forth to the White House about 4 times since that experience. And we pledged to go back and work with whoever the people seeing. So, because we still got problems. No matter if you got Democrats or Republicans, Obama or Trump or Biden or whoever it is, you're still gonna have problems. And you got to be able to put aside your lower level differences to stand up and do things for the greater good of Mississippi.
Like the lady was saying, but we the people.
For we the people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we continue to pledge to do, is continue that work and continue to work with whoever the people seeing to deliver good government and services and opportunities back to the folks here in Hinds County.
I want to talk just a little bit about your farming experience because I just think that's awesome. I think the first time I met you is when you first ran for office. You came to my office and you started talking about farming. I'm like, man, you don't know nothing about farming.
I got an amazing dad. When I say I got an amazing dad, I have an amazing dad. He's the person that taught me how to put on a business suit, conduct myself in this realm, go to church, conduct myself in this realm, and still go out here and slop these hogs and feed these cows and bale this hay. I mean,
a man had to do what a man had to do.
Right, a man to do what he had to do, and we would be changing clothes from business suits to coveralls and back and forth. But being farming gives you a balance to life. It helps you respect nature and teach you how to work hard.
Teach you hard work, and you can appreciate work.
When I went to the Marine Corps, I called there and said, man, this is easy.
But what I had to do when I was a check rocker daughter, so I know about working.
Right.
So I'm not sundown.
Right. So I appreciate my father for putting that space, that education in my life. And I'll be forever grateful for learning the process of farming and being part of it.
And I can appreciate you taking the kids to the farm because city kids don't know nothing about farming.
Yeah, we've been taking 2,500 JPS kids, right, county children to the farm for several years. We didn't do it last year, but we hope to get back on it soon.
And then we want to go back about the election because the election is September the 22nd.
Right.
Of course, the polls will open at 7:00 a.m. and they will close at 7 p.m. And we want you to be sure you go to the correct precinct because there are folks who go to the wrong precinct. And if you go to the wrong precinct, your vote is not going to count. So please go to the correct precinct. And if your name is not on the books, then that's when you vote affidavit. Do not leave if you're in the correct precinct, but go to the correct precinct.
Because we could point out for this particular special election that only your precincts for this election will be open. That's one thing, but also just know that you must be a registered voter in those particular precincts in order to be able to vote.
It won't be all over Hines County. It won't be the total Hines County election, only certain precincts.
Right.
And again, the polls will open at 7 and they will close at 7. So if you're in line at 7, we hope we have a big turnout, because this is going to be a test run on COVID-19. This is a test run for the election commissions, because y'all don't run by party.
That's right.
Everybody's name is on the ballot, period.
Yep, everyone's an independent candidate, and we're gonna work hard. The thing about it, Ms. Carr, you're gonna get the same thing you've been getting. We've been here in that phone every Wednesday night for 7.5 years. We're gonna continue to be here. We're not going anywhere. We're gonna continue to work hard. After the last election last year, after you lose one that you put your heart and soul into, it pushes you back a little bit. But we dusted ourselves off and got on our knees and prayed up a little bit and got our strength back, and we charge it back and go. We're back at it again. You can't keep it. It's impossible to stop a man that just won't quit. We're not gonna quit. We're gonna keep pushing until we change Mississippi. That's what we're doing. We're gonna keep pushing, keep fighting every day until we change this state for the better. That's what else we're gonna do.
And again, we want you to know that I don't know when the absentee ballot for September had started, but I'm almost sure it's already started. So you can go to the circuit clerk's office now and vote absentee, I do believe, and you can confirm that by calling Zach Wallace's office at 601-968-6640, or you can call the Hines County Election Commission's office at 601-968-6555 and confirm. But I do believe that absentee ballots are available now in the circuit clerk's office. Any last words you'd like to leave with our audience today?
First, I'd like to say, hats off to everyone that's in this race. My prayers go out to everyone that's go through this process, because campaigning makes you a better person.
We've got a call on in. Can you get that?
Yeah, the campaign process definitely makes you a better person. And as we go through this process, we just ask you to vote for the Keelan Stamps on September 22nd to be your next House representative for District 66.
We got the caller. Call you on the air. Go ahead, please. You're on the air, caller.
I think I heard y'all say y'all broadcast on Facebook. I was going to do a Facebook page y'all broadcast.
That's on my page, to keep the stamps.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Y'all have a good day.
Okay, thank you, sir. We just wish all of our candidates the best of luck.
I do. This process really makes you a better person, and I just.
We got another caller calling on the air. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, how are you all doing today?
Doing good. How about yourself?
Good. Mr. Stamps,
Yes, sir.
if successful, what primarily would be your job that you would do?
Okay, well, the legislature is in charge of writing policy, laws, and the governing apparatus of the state, and also the budget of the state. So those are the two primary jobs of the legislature: is writing laws and passing the budget and appropriating funds. And so that's the job of the state legislature.
Okay. Did that answer your question, sir?
Yeah, you don't know.
Okay. We thank you for coming and sharing with our audience today. And if somebody wants to talk to you offline or to send you a donation, how do they go about doing that?
Well, you can go right to our website at www.thekeeperstamps.com, or you can give us a call at 646-671-2229.
Okay. And while we got a couple more minutes, let's talk about the city council budget. We're all in the budget cycle right now.
Hot and heavy. Oh my.
Because we're going to be doing budget hearings next week for the county.
Mm-hmm.
And we're in the midst of our budget, putting our budget together. So I know that this will be a hot topic for the city, just like it's a hot topic for the county. So can you share some of the things with us that's going on?
Right now we're focused on stabilizing our economy, because we've been financing the city with entertainment and hotels and tourism and taxes, that mixture. And with the coronavirus,
it's just not there.
It's just not there. And you don't know what's going to be there in the future. You don't know what the future is going to look like. So what we're doing now is reprioritizing some things, looking at some ways that we can increase our revenue, but also stabilize our revenue from these other sources. So that's what we're doing now. We're in a stabilization year because of our tourism economy is going to be down for the foreseeable future. So we're trying to get back to basics and maintain our basic operations as we work through this fog of coronavirus and unstable economy moving forward. So we got tomorrow, I think we got the airport and Jackson Public Schools on the agenda tomorrow afternoon. So you can tune in on www.jacksonms.gov and or on our Facebook page. You can tune in to the hearings there as well. So just tune in and your input. The public hearing will be coming up the first week of September. And you're welcome, to participate in that process. We have a virtual process for input in public hearings.
Okay. And we all know that there's a shortage of police officers in the city.
It
So can you kind of touch on that a little bit?
We need people to step forward and make the profession of policing back to being an honorable, respected position in life. I became a military police officer because I was a hall monitor and an usher at church. That led me down the road.
Keep everything
in order, keep it in order. And so there are people out there, do you believe, that's one thing I love about church. Church grooms you for several professions. And we have to instill in our children that it is okay to be a police officer, it's honorable to be a police officer, and to commit yourself to that level of public service. And you can contact our office at 601-960-2052 if you want to serve in those different capacities. We do letters of recommendation for good folks in the community, but let's restore our police department with ourselves. These are good jobs with great health care and great benefits. So let's work together. We got plenty of folks in Jackson who are unemployed. Okay, this is an honorable profession with benefits that you can grow and build a family with. Every stable neighborhood in the city has police officers, school teachers, and principals. It's still okay and honorable to be a police officer or a school teacher. And instead of sitting at home, there are professions out there that are hiring in our community with retirements. And there are very few professions in this world today where you're going to be able to say, you know what, if I serve and do what I'm supposed to do, I'm going to retire.
And get a check every month.
And get a check every month.
Because we're a member of PERS.
That's right.
Public Employees Retirement System.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. So I encourage you, I implore you, if you have any inkling to want to serve, step forward and be a school teacher, be a firefighter, be a police officer. Honorable positions with a great retirement system in place. In very few places in this country are you going to be able to retire in this economy going forward.
And before we do close, because we are about out of time, I want to remind everybody that next week, Thursday, August the 27th, is the last day for land redemption. If you had 2017 taxes that you did not pay, they were sold at the tax collector's office, by the tax collector's office in 2018. Your 2 years for redemption is up. If you do not pay by August the 27th at 5:00 p.m., the individual or company who purchased your property at the tax sale will legally own your property. Legally own your property. So please give us a call at the Hinds County Chancery Clerk's office if you're unsure at 601-968-6508 or 601-968-6515, and we can tell you what you owe. This is 2017 taxes sold in 2018. We do not accept personal checks at this point, but we do accept business checks, money orders, or cash, or you can pay online at
www.hindscountyms.com.
So please, and we're asking you to come early. Don't wait till next week because the lines may be long, and because of COVID, there's spacing. And we ask you to have to pack your patients because you only allow a couple of people in the office at one time to pay. So go ahead and pay. It's better to pay online if you can, or go ahead and send your payments in and we'll mail you your receipt. But if you gotta come, just remember that it may be a hot day on August the 27th and you may have to wait in line. So we want to prevent that if possible. If you can pay online, that would be the best thing for you.
And we have to stress, no, they will be waiting in line. It's been a line on the last day for forever. And the difference is you can't pack the hallways.
You'll be outside. You have to wait
Yes.
outside, and we don't want you to be outside in the heat. We thought we were gonna be able to use the boardroom, but we were having budget hearings that day, so that kind of nipped that in the bud. So you still have to be on outside.
Yes.
But you can give us a call and we'd be happy to assist you by giving you the amounts that you owe and additional information if you need it. I'm Eddie Jean Carr, your Hinds County Chancery Clerk.
To keep the stamps, House Representative District 66 elections on September 22nd.
I'm Keelan Sanders, your co-host.
So until next week, be blessed.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great job. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Look, I was surprised when I saw your name.
Yeah, because I was like,